This week has been pretty incredible for Xbox, and it's only getting better. Not only did we get a great Xbox Developer Direct, including some first looks of both Fable and Forza, but we also had a ton of new and insane games being announced and also updated. Today, I actually wanted to cover the 16 games that not only look fantastic, but that you need to be aware of in 2026. So with that, my name is Fletcher, and this is Xbox Nation, and let's just dive right into it. You may remember, but Greedfall 2 The Dying World has been in early access now over on PC since September of 2024, and it's had some pretty decent success and also feedback from a lot of players. Well, in some fantastic news which landed as of yesterday, Greedfall The Dying World has officially got a release date for consoles, and it will be landing on the 12th of March. If you're unfamiliar, this one kicks off its narrative 3 years before the events of the first game. The sequel sees you following a native or Tier 3D, which has been uprooted from their home island and taken to the colony of Gakane. The place has been ravaged by war and the deadly Malachor plague, and the continent then finds itself in the midst of political scheming brought to us by numerous quarrying factions. If it can really nail the elements that I've seen in the first Greedfall, but basically up them in numerous different ways, then I have no doubt this will be a great release coming to us very, very shortly. As if next month's schedule wasn't busy enough for you, Soulslinger Envoy of Death is officially heading to Xbox on the 19th of February. This is a frantic first-person shooter with a roguelike structure, and it's actually been available on PC since 2023. Naturally, it's received a lot of updates since its initial launch as an early access title, and console players will be getting all of the good stuff day one. Pretty decent on the trailer that I'm showing you on screen now, and it looks right up my alley. I love these quirky shooters with a brand new take to them. For what it's worth, the game's currently sitting at a mixed user review over on Steam. Some of them are super positive, praising the title's in-depth upgrade system, with the more negative reviews tending to focus on the technical issues. Here's hoping they're all going to be ironed out when it finally arrives onto our Xbox consoles, but I'm keen to hear, what do you make of Soulslinger? Does the number-popping gameplay grab your attention? You'll have to let me know down below, and also let me know if you want me to cover it in an upcoming review. I do see that many of you on the channel always ask if Enshrouded is finally coming to Xbox, and we actually got confirmation from the development team that we can expect this launch onto consoles this year. If you're into RPGs with survival elements and even a focus on co-op for up to 16 players, then you might want to keep your eye on Enshrouded, and I now understand why it's so hyped by many in the community. This is one of those games that's done really well for itself over on PC, attracting millions of players and sitting pretty with very positive user reviews over on Steam. It's also had loads of big updates since it first launched in early access 2 years back, and they'll all be included when the version 1.0 drops on Xbox and current gen consoles this autumn and fall. In particular, Enshrouded's kind of been praised for its action combat, its rewarding sense of exploration, and its building systems, and apparently they're very well realised and so easy to use. The ending to the original Life is Strange wrote series publisher Square Enix into a little bit of a corner, and it's been wrestling with it ever since. The original dev, Don't Nod, have basically decided to introduce an entirely new cast in Life is Strange 2, but brothers Sean and Daniel kind of never connected like the original protagonist, that being Max and Chloe of course. So, new studio Deck 9 of course decided to start over with Alex in Life is Strange True Colors, and whilst I did kind of enjoy that game, there was always a clamouring for the return of the original cast. That is why the studio is trying again, as they've just announced Life is Strange Reunion, and is going to be using the split timelines of Double Exposure to explain Chloe's return. The game is actually due out fairly soon, on the 26th of March, and it looks as though we'll now see Max now working as a photography teacher at Caledon University, but after a short break, she'll then return to the academic institution to find it on fire, and that's where things get really interesting. It does sound pretty promising on paper, and I know many Life is Strange fans are really happy with the welcome return to these two characters in 2026. As you are all probably aware by now, we have learned quite a lot about Marathon over the past couple of months, but one rather important bit of info we haven't actually been given was a release date. Sony has previously committed to Marathon, giving it a sort of March 2026 window, but then has remained quite tight-lipped on the specifics, presumably holding out for a very big sort of flashy reveal that serves as the metaphorical exclamation point that's capping off a pretty successful pre-release campaign. That, however, has completely changed though, as Marathon has now been confirmed that it will be launching on the 5th of March. The date was initially revealed by a premature pre-order trailer on the Xbox store of all places, and whilst it was pulled off quickly, an official announcement did roll out a few hours later. I'm still kind of a bit skeptical about the game overall, as it feels like a bit of a dud. I do dig the sort of new art direction, but after what we've seen so far and all of the controversies, we'll just have to wait and see how it fares on its launch day. If you do want to see how it fares though, then do make sure to subscribe down below, as I will be bringing you a wealth of Xbox content on a daily basis each year, including loads of news, reviews, updates, and so much more. At the moment, over 68% of you are not subscribed, and I would just love for you to join our ever-growing Xbox community. 2026 is absolutely stacked for Xbox, and I'll be bringing you all the best and latest news every single day. With that though, let's just dive back into the remaining games you need to be aware of. A small South African studio has announced Relooted, and this is an African futuristic heist game wherein you'll plan out elaborate jobs to reclaim real looted African artifacts from Western museums, and that's while using your parkour skills. It's a kind of really cool looking concept, as it has you assembling a crew and then you'll set about reclaiming 70 real life artifacts of cultural, historical and spiritual significance. It is said that your team of heisters will comprise of a cast from different African countries and all walks of life, all with their own skill sets, with each heist involving new puzzles to solve, teammates to place in the right places, and then flow-based parkour abilities. I kind of dig these little indie offshoot projects these days, and it is cool seeing that we're going to receive a new experience from a part of the world that doesn't traditionally make video games. If you are interested though, Relooted will launch onto Xbox on the 10th of February, so it's just around the corner. I love a great RTS game, and these past few years has certainly seen a resurgence of the genre on consoles, which is great to see. One game which is coming our way pretty shortly is called Ultimate General Civil War, and this is actually an RTS game that's based on the American Civil War. This means we'll fight in the campaigns during 1861 to 65, from small engagements to massive battles that can even last several days over hundreds of square miles of terrain. I've had to do a little bit more digging on this one, as it seriously does interest me, especially due to that premise alone, and it looks as though the game has actually been out on PC for quite a long time already, all the way back in 2017. The reviews across the board though are actually really positive, with many saying the campaign and the customization of units is utterly fantastic and it gets incredibly addictive. I might have to polish off my RTS shoes and dive into this one when it lands in March. However, in some not so great news, check out this next game. The ecological narrative adventure game known as Tides of Tomorrow has a new release date, but don't worry, it's not too big of an adjustment. Instead of releasing this February, the game is now going to be launching in April 2026. The last we saw, if you remember, of Tides of Tomorrow was during the THQ Nordic showcase a few months back last year, while we were treated to a new trailer that did actually detail more about this asynchronous multiplayer game, and it's really looking interesting. If you remember, Tides of Tomorrow is coming from the same team behind Road 96, and it takes you to the drowned world of Elend, where a deadly plastification threatens all life. It has always looked pretty great across the board. I do hope we get some more details and gameplay prior to release, now that it is a few months away. If you love Morkull Ragol's Rage when that finally landed on the Xbox last year, then I have no doubt that you're going to be excited about the upcoming release of Morkull Ascend of the Gods. This is essentially just a brand new 2D action game that's focused on boss battles, but once again taking control of the charismatic god of death, Morkull. It is going to be set in the original world of Ragol's Rage, but this time he's going to be locked up and aware that he's in a brand new video game. You're then going to have to help Morkull escape so he can carry out his evil plans for the world, and then subjecting everyone to his will. It sounds as though it's going to be keeping that fourth wall breaking nature of the original, which was quite cool to be honest, and it's kind of upping the ante in most departments, including improvements on what players had issues with in the original entry. If you are interested though, this newest entry does land on the Xbox on the 2nd of April, but talking of indie games, this one's really interesting. I will always say it time and time again, but indies are just the lifeblood of the industry these days, and I don't know how many times I need to say it, but you get some of the most unique and incredible experiences from these smaller development teams. With that in mind, let me introduce you to Ariel Knight's DropShot, and this is a new fast-paced stylish FPS in which you'll face off against enemies all vying for a parachute to try and land safely on the ground first. You'll do this being armed with a finger gun of all things, with a very limited number of bullets, and you'll have to utilise as part of your strategy to both outsmart your enemies and grab the ultimate prize. I won't lie, it looks absolutely bonkers, and it kind of reminds me massively of games like Neon White in just bringing a unique flavour to this already oversaturated market. It does land soon as well on the 17th of February, and I really hope it carves out a very decent player base. You are also most likely aware by now, but the Xbox Developer Direct went live yesterday, so thanks to all of you who tuned in to my live stream, as it was great to see you all there. But with that, Xbox has now provided us with a ton of info on 4 new games coming our way. The first shown off, of course, was Forza Horizon 6, and we finally got a release date confirmation of May this year. Not only did we get that awesome news, but the team over at Playground finally lifted the lid on gameplay and just the world of Japan, and honestly, it looks absolutely mind-blowing. My mind literally could not fathom the amount of details they packed into this one alongside the huge creation aspects that they're going to be bringing to this game. The idea that you can just create some awesome user-generated tracks and maps anywhere within the world with your friends is absolutely insane, and I cannot wait to just see what's created. That's all alongside the massive amount of improvements like exhaust sounds, added home base areas, new car cosmetics, and so much more. Hell, we're even getting 550 cars at launch, and that is totally staggering. It looks fantastic, and I cannot wait to get my hands on it in the next few months. It was back in June of last year that we first heard of Beast and Reincarnation, and this was a brand new action RPG from the team behind the Pokemon games of all things out there. It was also announced at the time that it would be coming to Xbox Game Pass, which is so awesome to see, but this brand new showcase gave us a bigger idea of what to expect from Game Freak's new title though, including how the two protagonists interact with each other in this one-person, one-dog adventure. It is said that Emma and Ku will go on a journey to confront the Beast of Reincarnation, being described as the source of all blight within the region. In combat, Emma will use her fast-paced katana action, while Ku will then use a command-based system to trigger some powerful skills, and their ultimate goal is to absorb the power of the giant Malefax in order to defeat the Beast of Reincarnation. All of this should make a little bit more sense when the game releases this summer, and I will cover it in more depth nearer to its launch. I'm still a little bit 50-50 on the moment, but I do like how you can choose your different playstyles, that being sort of stealth, ranged, or even upfront attack mode, and it's kind of interesting to see those different take on this genre. Over the past few weeks though, and in the lead up to this developer direct, it was rumoured that a surprise game would be revealed during the event, and it actually turned out to be a new multiplayer brawler from Double Fine. The game is called Kiln, and it will see you creating your own pots for an accessible and surprisingly in-depth character creation tool, and then taking it into battle across a series of different game modes and maps. They have said that in terms of game modes, the main one's going to be called Quench, and this sees you having to douse your enemy's kiln with water, whilst the map variation is said to be a very big focus and will ship with a bunch of very different maps to each other. I was kind of taken a bit back by this one, as I didn't expect a multiplayer game like this from Double Fine, but I'm relatively interested to see how it lands. Again, this game isn't certainly going to be for everyone, and I definitely saw that within the livestream chat last night, but that's the fun nature of Double Fine. It's great to see that Xbox are going to give this team total freedom, and it kind of reminds me of the 360 era and some of those unique games we used to get on the Horizon. After what felt like an absolute eternity though since it was first announced, Xbox and Playground also pulled back the curtain on the upcoming Fable reboot, and wow, this could be an Xbox game for the ages if it all comes together this autumn. The Forza Horizon specialists are actually set to deliver a sprawling open world RPG with plenty of choice and consequence, and that's all alongside engaging sort of Witcher, Hogwarts Legacy style like combat, and all of the whimsical charm you kind of expect from a Fable game. It all looks to be here as well, and it all looks rather stunning. I did cover all of the news in a video which went live yesterday or early this morning here in the UK, so I do recommend you check it out, as I did cover the huge 15 details about this one. It provides you with all the knowledge of everything you need to know about this new Fable and what looks to be an upcoming masterpiece for the Xbox portfolio. In case you did miss it as well, we also received a massive update this week for Far Cry 3, Primal and Blood Dragon, and the games have now received 60 FPS patches across the board. This means that Far Cry 3 Classic and Blood Dragon are no longer stuck at that 30 FPS limit, which has kind of been the case for so bloody long, and Primal then gets a little bit of a refresh and it no longer needs that FPS boost. This is fantastic if you've been putting off these games due to the poor frame rate issues, and I just love seeing these older games being revisited. I was recording some gameplay and an analysis on this one, so if you do want to see my review or a video about this patch, do let me know down below. Whilst down there, make sure to like this video as well if you did enjoy, and subscribe again for more Xbox content on a daily basis. A massive shout out to our channel members for your continued support, and if you do want to check out some of the incredible Fable news, then do check out the video on screen now, as I just covered everything that you need to know.